Let's go out to Laura in Dallas, Texas. Hey, Laura, what's up?
Hey, Dr. John Delony, how are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good. I wanted to say, first of all, I'm very sorry about what the families in Tennessee are going through. My
Thank you.
family and I have been definitely praying for you guys, but I'm very thankful for your team and your family and yourself for a show like this, because I think it's a drop in the bucket to help us with how you said, like, this world. It's not the easiest. So I really appreciate everything y'all do.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your thinking about us, and thanks for your call. What's going on in your
Yep,
world?
thanks. So I'm 28. I have a 3 and a 5-year-old, both boys. My husband is a teacher. I have a 15-year-old sister, same parents. My parents, I think, just got to the point where they are doing their best, but almost have what seemed to me like have checked out of my sister's life. The situation has gotten out of control, where she is leaving her school, smoking, has been hanging out with the wrong crowd. And my sister has a great heart. So I've been trying to help my parents in ways with suggestions, but it's almost like they just don't want to upset my sister. They're a little bit scared. And I suggested to them to let her come live with me and my family. And I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing. My parents are planning to leave the city that they're in to move to more of the outside, where kind of like a farm, just to give my sister kind of better opportunities. And so I offered for her to come live with us for a while. And I want to make sure, I've always lived by like a united family is a strong family. So I want to make sure that I'm not causing her any harm, but I do stay home. I'm going to be homeschooling. The plan is to homeschool my sister and put her in activities to keep her busy. But like I said, I'm trying my best to not bring her harm, to, taking away, I don't want to take her away from my parents at the end of the day, because that's, those are her parents. And, but I am kind of desperate at this point, because I see how my sister's going, and I don't see the urgency in my parents. If she's leaving school, that opens up the door for her to get trafficked. Just a whole bunch of things and so, yeah, I'm just really nervous and want to make sure I'm doing the right thing for her, and just wanted to see if you had any advice or your opinion on it.
Yeah, thanks for your heart, for loving your sister. Have you talked to her?
Yes, I have.
Y'all just sat down and had just a woman-to-woman talk?
Yes, we have. We've had a bunch of talks, and they have always been amazing. She knows that I am not the sister to hide lies from my parents either, if they put her in a dangerous situation. But she's very, very open with me. She knows that she can't make decisions on her own, which my parents think a lot of the times it's her responsibility. She's making the decision. She's the one who's lying. But I always tell her, look, if they're putting you in a situation that a 15-year-old cannot decide on herself, it's not all your fault. Because I'm not going to give her a car without giving her lessons how to drive. So I feel like that's kind of the situation that she's in with my parents. So she, tells me, yeah, that's completely right. I need someone to make decisions for me. So I had told her, I said, I think it's a good idea if maybe you can come live with me a little while. And she also agreed. And then, she backtracked. She's like, well, maybe not all summer. And so I was like, I think it'll be healthy for you to come live with me and have some responsibility at my house. And I have the freedom to take her to horseback riding lessons, like piano lessons, anything that keeps her busy as well. So I thought that would be good.
So I think it's a mix of both. I think you're on the right track with adults have to provide models and pictures of what healthy relationships look like. They have to provide structure and boundaries. And when kids don't get structure and boundaries, they go racing to see where the boundaries end. And when a kid finds no fences and no boundaries, and older parents who've just checked out, or younger parents who've just checked out, and they will find boundaries. They're usually found with other kids. And that's when you get in a huge mess. And so, um, I- my pushback for you is this: I want you to recognize the gravity of what's happening here. And it may 100% be worth it for you. Okay. And I'm not going to tell you right or wrong, you should or shouldn't do it. But essentially, what you're doing as a 28-year-old is you are coming in and looking at your mom and dad and saying, y'all are failing at this. And the cost of your failure is the loss of my sister. I won't stand by and watch that happen. Um, that's different than, hey, why don't you just come spend the summer with big sister? And here's why. If she's coming to live with you and you have what I would call ulterior motives, I'm going to keep her real busy. I'm going to get her in activities. You basically are inserting yourself as, I'm going to do a better job of parenting her than her actual mom and dad do. If that's the thought behind it all, you got to say those things out loud because your sister's not stupid.
Correct.
And what you don't want to have is her show up and 2 weeks in feel like there was a bait and switch.
Okay.
Oh, you just brought me here because you're going to make me fill in the blank. You're going to give me a bunch of chores and I'm out of here. This sucks. I thought I was just coming to hang out with big sister because mom and dad are dumb. See what I'm saying?
Right.
So it will be, hey, I want you to come here. I see value in you. I want my little ones to be around their aunt. And you've got to get some structure in your life. I love you and I care about you. I'm a grown woman just 13 years down the road from you, and I see where you're headed. And I love you enough. If you're ready for a fun summer and a summer of accountability and change, I'd love to open my house up to you. You see how one's different? And she might look at you and say, absolutely not, I'm not doing that.
Right.
And
that brings, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
That brings me comfort because that's exactly how I feel. I don't want to be naive and think, oh, I know better than my parents because I've never had this. It's easier said than done. And my parents are doing their best regardless. But it's true. I do want to just be big sister. And I have, as humbly as possible, I have told my parents I cannot stand and watch this any longer because I have like my hands tied behind my back with any sort of suggestion.
What do they say to you? What do they say to you?
They tell me thank you and that they will consider, what I say and that they know that I love her very much, but that it's easier said than done. But I also have heard my dad say, we don't know what to do anymore. Or he'll say like, what do I do in this case? But it's a rhetorical question. And in my head, I'm like, well, take the phone away from her. She shouldn't have social media.
Right.
But obviously I want to respect my dad as well. So it's very, very difficult for me to not have a judgment towards them because this is my one and only sister and I love her.
So it's
very, very much.
I go all in either way.
Okay.
Meaning if you are like, I would sit down with my dad if I'm you and say, you have communicated several times you don't know what to do. You've communicated several times that little sister's gone crazy and she's doing this and this and we just don't know what's next. I would like her to come live with me for the summer and I am going to walk her through some things that I think would provide some accountability. And if you're open to it, after being with her for the summer, I would love to fill you and mom in on, here's some things I think that would be helpful. I've walked this world. It's just new. Everything's changed. And some dads and moms would lose their freaking mind if their kids said that to them. Or some moms and dads may exhale and say, thank God, this world just went bananas and I don't know what to do.
Right. And they're a little bit of both.
Okay.
And I don't blame them because obviously I'm sure it's a little hit in the ego sometimes and I don't know best, but I do try to get the tools that for my own kids whenever they grow up. So I just use the suggestions from what I'm learning.
Sure. I want to have as clear a picture as possible about what happens, not if, but when younger sister violates curfew. When younger sister is smoking on the back porch or she has figured out a way to get a hold of a phone and whatever your rules are going to be, you and your husband have to be lockstep and your parents lockstep on here's what will happen. Are you in a position to hold her accountable for things? And I would suggest when she shows up, you take her out. You've heard me say this a million times on the show with a sort of help her walk through. Here's what a value statement looks like. Here's what a value, like, who are we? Who are we going to be? And you can let her know, here are some values I've made in my life. And this may be a really extraordinary time for you to tell her about some stupid guy you were with in college, or some things you said yes to that you would like, right? To let her know a peek behind the curtain that she may not know about Big Sister. And it gives you some, it will allow her to go, oh, she does know what she's talking about, right?
Yeah, I have something in the books like that.
There you go. So it's not going to be, it's not salacious, and it's not like, oh yeah, look what I did too. It's not like that, because I've also been around a little bit older folks who try to bro down. You know what I mean? Like, use all the cool words. I've been guilty of this before, especially when I was younger, of trying to like appear cool. Like, yeah, I know what's up and I know how to get a hold of whatever. That's not it. It's, hey, I've been here, and here's what you don't understand about what's coming. Here's what he's got. Go ahead.
My kids took my cool card away a long time ago. So I'm.
My daughter repeatedely just tears it up and hands it back to me.
Well, I thought I had a few more years, but
no, it's long gone. But the meta word I'm using here is clarity. Very, very clear about what we're taking on.
Okay.
And if this is just summer camp at Sister Laura's house, let it be summer camp at Sister Laura's house. And we're going to try to influence positivity. If this is, no, I'm taking over mom and dad for 3 months, then make sure everybody's in the know on that.
Okay.
And be real clear with your husband. Here's when she gets shipped out of here.
Got it.
Here's when she goes back home. And let her know, here's what we can't have in this house. You cannot smoke if you're going to be in this house. This house is social media free. That means you're going to have to be off it too, right?
Yep. And I work, yeah, that's true. I am ready for that though.
Awesome. And I think, and maybe even you frame it as, I'm making some life changes too. Like, I'm on social media too much. I'm off it for the summer. I'm going to look at it once a night or whatever. You can do that in your bedroom when she's gone to bed or whatever the thing is, right? But I think the big thing here is this is going to be harder than you think. And so let's be very, very clear as it happens.
May I ask one more thing?
Of course.
Okay. What does a punishment look like for I know that it has to go with with what she broke, but for example, I'm not going to take her phone away or her TV time, because she can't have that in my phone or in my house. We watch movies as a family. Yep. We took that advice that y'all do in y'all's house, and we do that too. So I'm not really sure.
Everything's about choices. So everything will be framed around choices, which is why your clarity up front is so important. Here's what I mean by that. If you choose to do X, you're choosing to step away from us.
Got it.
Right? Don't weaponize your relationship. Don't weaponize her relationship with her nephews. Don't weaponize her relationship with her uncle. Because then it looks like you are withholding love because she didn't perform up to your standards. Instead, look at her and say, we're inviting you in, and we're adding another leg to this table. And so this house is going to function best when you're here, when you're a part of it. I want you to have an hour in the morning with the boys. I'll pay you, and I'm going to hire you for some of this stuff this summer, so you can have the experience of having a job too, right? And maybe it's Sister Laura's boot camp this summer. However you want to frame it, but frame it in a positive. Yet this is not going to be easy, right? And I think kids today are craving challenges. They're desperate for adults to look at them and say, "Whoa! You can do so much more," right? It's just providing, like you said, the scaffolding so that the whole thing doesn't fall over when they make mistakes. But it's going to be her. If you can't. This is a house where we don't curse in front of the kids. If you curse in front of the kids, you're choosing to not be in the room with those kids. Please don't make that choice. This house works so much better when you're here. And then if she does it, which she will, then you have to hold that line, because your mom and dad don't hold that line, and she's gonna see if you're telling the truth or not.
Yes, right.
Right? So everything is about choices she's making. If she chooses to go home because she finds some dude to give her alcohol, she chooses to go home because she finds some dude to buy her smokes, and That's a choice she makes. And it's let her
Right.
know this breaks my heart because I wanted you here. I want you here, and you're
Okay.
choosing to leave.
Perfect. That makes complete sense.
Is that cool?
I'm very excited for this.
Yes.
I love her very much.
Please
so.
let me know how it goes, and I would love to call me anytime throughout the summer if it when it gets sideways and bananas. But I think as much honesty and openness as possible, and keep a tiny little space in your heart for this whole thing to go south.
Yes. I'm
Sister to
prepared.
say, I hate you, you're dumb. Remember, she's a child, right?
Yep.
And your parents to say, how dare you? I wiped your butt. I watched your mom give birth to you. Expect all that crap too.
Right. Totally fine with me.
I don't even care. It's all good.
I'm going to do my very best and do it as loving as possible. And I'm not going to blame anyone for how they react. Not by business how someone else reacts, but I am going to do my best.
I love that. Clear is kind, clear is kind, clear is kind. And Laura, thank you for loving her, and thank you for loving your parents. And no parent wants their kids to give them advice. It's the brave parent. I'll just be honest. My mom called me this morning and said, "Hey, I'm working through an issue. What do you think?" There's something really profound when a parent goes, "Oh, so great. One of my kids is an expert in this thing, or they know this thing. I'll call them." That's awesome. Many parents don't have the courage or the strength to get there. Moms and dads, if you're over your head and you've got a great child like Laura, reach out and say, "Hey, can you help? We're at our wits' end here, and we need some support." But for those of you kids who are just like, "Mom and dad are making stupid decisions," sometimes they have more wisdom than you. Sometimes it's a different conversation, and sometimes you just got to be prepared for them to say, "I would rather take wisdom from raccoon's butthole than from you." I don't know where raccoon's butthole came from. I just screwed up this whole call. Sorry, guys. But Laura, you know what I'm talking about.